Hey there, it's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
3,000 registered voters in Alabama just got booted from the state voter rolls. That's after the Secretary of State, Wes Allen, ordered the removal of all non-citizens who were registered. But how did non-citizens get registered in the first place? WAFF 48's Nick Ballinger spoke to the Secretary of State to get to the bottom of this story. Nick?
Yeah, Margot, when I asked Secretary Allen how these people got registered to vote in the first place, he couldn't give me a clear answer just yet, saying it was still being investigated. But when he gave me a breakdown of how many there were in each county, the numbers were glaring. This is a list from Secretary of State Wes Allen of how many non-citizens were registered to vote in our counties. The state found 3,251 people. 742 of them were from North Alabama.
We got the information. We cross-checked it against our centralized data file here in the state of Alabama and found those 3,200 individuals.
The information he's talking about are people with alien registration numbers. Those are issued to immigrants who intend to live in this country permanently and have already applied for a green card. However, you're not eligible to vote with just an alien identification number. When I asked Allen how 3,000 plus were able to register in the first place, he couldn't give me the answer.
But it's our belief that only American citizens should be allowed to vote. Non-citizens, whether they're legal or illegal immigrants, cannot register to vote. It's a federal offense.
Remember like 2 months ago when Biden admitted to flying a whole bunch of illegal immigrants into the United States? Just saying.
California is experiencing the weirdest problem. They now have so many people driving EVs that guess what's happened? They don't know where to get the gas tax money anymore. Now they're going to start taxing EV drivers.
What?
With more than 30 million registered passenger vehicles in California, the state says it shells out more than $8 billion a year to maintain the roads those cars drive on. But because so many Californians now own electric vehicles, the gas tax money is starting to dry up, which is why Caltrans wants to instead charge drivers per mile and is now enrolling people in a 6-month pilot program to test out the concept.
Pilot program, 6 months.
Yeah.
Somebody just flushed the toilet already. I am so tired of California.
Have you guys heard of the alien motherships that are surrounding the planet? So there are people being taken in their sleep through the soul, like astral projecting, right? And these aliens are coming to take these people to those arcs. And there's a lot of ships all around Earth. That happened to me. I had the same exact experience. Now, what I didn't know was that this was a collective experience. This happened to a few other people. At the end of my experience, I saw this huge ring in the sky. Well, in space, it was just floating outside next to Earth. So I've never seen anything like this before, nor the concept, but it's very intriguing. And I was told that it was a portal to transport people, right? But I mean, that's too big of a portal to transport people. I've already been reading on the Earth shift, so I'm like, okay, maybe it's like something to do with the Earth shift, right? Anyways, I just start trying to find a picture of what I saw so I can share it with you guys. And this is exactly what I saw. Basically, this ring is to be activated as a portal, and it's meant to transport people to the next Earth. Now, I've already predicted and estimated maybe this is something that'll happen by 2028. But the way the world is going, I think it's heading towards that way.
At first, I thought he was going to talk about how Earth is like a soul-growing place, right? And these aliens come and they harvest the souls. That's what I thought he was going to talk about, but then he went full Stargate. So that's still pretty cool.
The most impressive feature of the Super Guppy is its unique way of loading and unloading cargo. Some people find its appearance cute, while others find it ugly. What do you think? Normally, we see cargo aircraft with cargo doors at the rear, or, like the An-225, with the nosy flipped up to open the cargo hold. But the Super Guppy simply twists its head 90 degrees to create a huge opening. This design is actually for more convenient loading and unloading of large cargo. If you look closely, when the nose opens, apart from some cables, the nose and fuselage are almost completely separated. This inevitably raises the question, won't the aircraft break in half after taking off into the sky? But there's no need to worry. After the nose and fuselage are closed, multiple special latches at their junction connect the nose and fuselage. These latches are inserted into corresponding slots between the nose and fuselage. Once the latches are fully inserted, they securely lock the nose and fuselage, ensuring connection strength and sealing. Additionally, since the Super Guppy is a product of the previous century, its cockpit interior is also very outdated and retro. To fly it, you definitely need experienced pilots.
Have you ever seen such an ugly airplane? I never saw this until last night. We were watching some YouTube video on like airplane things, right? Just weird stuff happening with airplanes. And then I saw this at the very end and I just was like, this has got to go on my episode because I have never seen it before. And that's really weird. It's so weird.
The Queen Elizabeth theory.
Do you remember when Queen Elizabeth died and they broke her wand ceremoniously in the funeral and they laid it on top of her coffin? What many don't know is that there's leaked audio that came out while they were taking her body to there. And there was a mic or something on that caught feedback or caught somebody else speaking, not just the British commentators, and it said her death was irreversible. She's trapped. I'm going to show you that audio right now.
Is irreversible, and the fact that she's trapped.
As you can see, here in London, it is a lovely day, and as the hearse heads out into Wales.
If you noticed, the guy who was speaking, he was going to speak, and then he heard that other person speak, and he stopped. After that other person realized that they were live on mic, they stopped. Then a few seconds later, he speaks. Nobody really knows what that means.
There have been so many theories about the royals that they're vampires because King Charles was like, oh, I'm related to Vlad the Impaler and the whole Dracul, reference there. Or that they're werewolves. There was a Doctor Who episode where Queen Elizabeth I became a werewolf. Well, it was implied that she was going to become a werewolf, and that's why they lived to be so old. And that's why they think that they're immortal.
No one can get close to this place in the United States. In the event of doomsday or war, the top echelons of the United States would be immediately relocated here. The Mount Weather Emergency Operations Center is an emergency response facility operated by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, located near Bluemont, Virginia. Situated on a mountain, it is absolutely secluded and secure. Established in 1959 during the Cold War, it was considered one of the shelters for government officials in the event of a nuclear war. Today, it still serves as an alternate emergency operations center. In times of crisis, high-ranking government officials, emergency management personnel, and other crucial individuals may be transferred to this facility to address national emergencies such as natural disasters, terrorist attacks, or war. The facility includes underground shelters, a command center, a communication hub, medical facilities, residential areas, and more. It is equipped with various tools and technologies to ensure communication is maintained during emergencies. The operation of Mount Weather is shrouded in secrecy, with public access strictly prohibited. It is considered the most secure place in the world.
I wonder if that's where the designated survivor goes when they have like those huge meetings or whatever in Congress and whatnot, and everybody and their pet kangaroo is there except for one person, the designated survivor. If it's that secure, I mean, that's where I'd put them.
Guys, did you know that up to 70% of people on the planet are NPCs, non-player characters? Similar to a video game, you have the source players and then you have the background people. So these people, and if you research near-death experiences, you'll often hear that some people report seeing mechanical souls coming back down to Earth. I would surmise that these are NPC souls. These are people that you'll try and tell them that government's corrupt or they're trying to poison us through the food, water, or air, and they'll immediately dismiss you, call you a conspiracy theorist, call you a tinfoil hat wearer. These are agents for the Matrix. They exist to protect the construct of the Matrix and to make the game harder for the source players.
Not that I believe we're actually in a Matrix. I don't rule it out completely, though, of course. But sometimes I feel like people around me aren't actually like there. Like they're there, but they're not really there, you know? And it is a really strange feeling. You feel a little, I don't know, just odd around some people. Like grocery shopping. Sometimes when I'm grocery shopping, I feel like half the people that are there, they're not really there.
Today, we talk about Randy Kramer, a United States Marine who participated in the Secret Space Program, otherwise known as the 20 and Back Program. Kramer's story begins when he was just 4 years old, where he will be covertly drafted into Project Moonshadow, which is a training program for SSP. And in 1987, when Kramer turned 17 years old, he will be involuntarily recruited into the Mars Defense Force, whose entire purpose was to protect 5 civilian settlements on Mars. Now, why would we send a secret military to Mars, you might ask? Well, there are 3 reasons. The first of these is to establish an extraterrestrial defense force for Earth. The second of these reasons is to claim Mars as a U.S. territory, because why wouldn't the United States want Mars as a territory? And the third of these reasons is to accustom Martians to Earthling inhabitants. You see, there are 2 primary indigenous creatures to Mars, one being reptilian and one being insectoids. And at Kramer's initial briefing for his stay on Mars, he will be told that these are native savages and beasts. Sound familiar, doesn't it? However, Kramer will quickly learn that these are evolved intelligent species, each with their own cultures and civilizations, noting that most of them actually live underground in what are known as hives or nests. Kramer will note that at first the indigenous peoples of Mars were completely disinterested in fighting with humans so long as humans respected their nests and their hives. However, as I'm sure you can infer, skirmishes would arise when humans would overstep their bounds, and eventually the humans and indigenous peoples of Mars would actually come to a peace agreement and sign a treaty, which came in 2 parts. The first part of this treaty is that the humans would not invade the sacred places of the indigenous peoples. The second part of this treaty is that the humans would actually work together with the reptoids and insectoids to combat an invading species of reptoids known as the Draconians. Kramer will actually get quite emotional when he describes the last battle that he participated in before leaving Mars. You see, Kramer, along with 1,000 other men, were instructed to invade a sacred tunnel of the reptoids to capture an artifact. He never was told why. So he and these men will traverse these tunnels, ultimately coming to an underground dome about the size of the Houston Astrodome. After entering this dome, they will lose all communication with headquarters, and then all of the entrances to the doors were immediately sealed. Then suddenly, doors around the exterior of the dome are going to open up and out are going to charge reptoids swinging bladed weapons. Kramer describes this battle like being in a blender, and he was just 1 out of 35 men that ultimately survived the encounter.
What? What the heck? I have never heard of that before. So 20 and back. I'm going to have to do some research on that because that is freaking rad. Oh my gosh. So we have people like going to Mars and doing things on Mars and fighting in battles. Oh my God. Okay. I love it. That's awesome.
I've recently come into contact with another person who says that they've been beyond the ice wall to the continent of Patasia and that they know the guy that I was speaking to last August who also said he's been beyond the ice wall. Now, this new guy said that he went through the Leviathan's Gate through a submarine and visited this continent, which had a race of humanoid dog-headed beings. Now, we already have heard about these dog-headed humanoids from European legend. They were said to have been an aberration and were a hybrid of humans and dog, and were said to have been constantly at war with the Roman Empire. There was even one named Saint Christopher, whom only according to legend was redeemed by Jesus Christ, but this is getting off topic. Now, here's the weird part. I sent this long document that has all the saved messages from this other guy I spoke to in August. I sent it to this new guy, and then he was amazed. He was like, wow, this sounds like someone that I knew before, that I haven't been in contact with since before 2020. Now, let's get back to talking about what this new guy told me. Now, he said that there are dragons and krakens like we have heard before, and that he only went to a few mostly abandoned cities that only had a few people in it. But he said he's not going back because it is too dangerous, and he saw one of his crewmates to a disease that nobody knew what it was. The guy's skin was apparently melting off in a week. And they were also thinking that it might have been a curse because when they were in the city, a shaman was, I guess, following them around and keeping an eye on them. And so they think it could have been a curse or it could have been a strain of something that they've never heard of before. And then he told me that he cut off all contact with his crewmates because he fears for his life and any ties getting back to him because apparently the shadow government, whoever they are hunting him down. He also told me that about 30% of my TikToks are correct, so that's great to hear. But what do you guys think? Is he telling the truth or not?
I'm not sure which is worse. The fact that I believe that we're sending people to other planets to fight like alien wars, or the fact that I don't believe in that. I can't wrap my head around it. It doesn't make sense to me. However, aliens and other planets and stuff does.
Be careful on TikTok. Now hear me out. This is a thought I've been getting as of recently. I spend time on TikTok trying to find trending sounds, trying to study, algorithm or other content creators' pages and stuff. But obviously we're all victim to it. We all end up endlessly scrolling on TikTok, and all of a sudden time just flies by. That's why I think it's called TikTok. TikTok, because you end up looking at the time and it's been like 2 hours and you've been on TikTok and you're like, what the f-? So hear me out. I just say be careful is because as of lately, I feel like the trend of obviously TikTok is exponentious, if that's even a word. It's going up, 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 and this is the hottest thing right now. It's been the hottest thing, and we understand that 15-second to 30-second videos is what it is. You all like watching 15 to 30-second videos. You might not even end up watching this whole video because you're going to just synchronistically scroll out of it. So our brains are getting rewired to watch 15 to 30-second content every single day. And all of a sudden, what I'm starting to realize, and I don't know if this is just common sense, and social media is obviously linked to our, mental and our brain status, but it feels like I just can't get my thoughts under control. I feel like I get a thought and I instantly switch to another thought. And I don't have any form of ADHD, ADD, none of that. I am, normal diagnosed person with no mental health problems. And I just feel like as of lately, I just can't sit on one thought. It just goes like this, like this, like this, like this, and it's getting hard to sleep, and it just really sucks. And I'm just really wondering if TikTok is the enemy for doing this to me.
Oh, absolutely. My thoughts are just rapid fire. And as soon as the next one comes up, I forget the other one. Like, oh, I want to look up something. And then I think of something else and I totally forget what that other thing is that I wanted to look up. That's why everything's such a hodgepodge. But seriously, we're also reducing our attention spans because we don't want to watch a whole bunch of stuff, right? We want to watch real quick clips, to the point, get to the point, make the joke, get it done. That's it. And we just blow through the rest of it. And it sucks. It sucks.
This is Edward Keith Abbott, a US military officer in the 500th Military Intelligence Brigade. In this interview, this is his testimony. The Kunai Tunnel is right next to Schofield Military Base. And if you're heading down the road from Schofield towards the ocean, you run right into the Kunai Tunnel, and it's underground. And there's one spot in there that this lieutenant was telling us about that he worked in, and it was called Otherworldly Communications. I'm like, what's that? There's only 8 of us enlisted, just officers. We're all linguists, and we've just listened all day to Otherworldly Communications. We're talking about aliens. Who can communicate with an alien? And he said that we have been doing this for a very long time, that we're already traveling in space. And I remember seeing them coming down. They were wearing black uniforms. The only thing on their sleeve was a blue circle with a red pointer coming up the top. They're already in space and on the moon, and there is a dialect, and we do have linguists that understand the dialect. This information is coming from a real whistleblower. What are your thoughts? Keep looking up.
See, I totally believe that. I'm on board with that. I believe we're getting transmissions from other planets, and there are people just sitting around. The ones that had invented crazy things that got, disappeared, they're there. They're doing stuff, working on it.
Do you think each nation follows the rules of the world? If that were the case, there would be no war. The hemoglobin, it has a certain amount of oxygen. And when you use ITPP, it's willing to give off more oxygen. And the more oxygen it gives off, the faster you go, but also the more deoxygenated the blood becomes. And so you get that bluish purple face. ITPP is included on the World Anti-Doping Agency's prohibited list of substances for human athletes. However, no method yet exists to detect this substance in human urine.
we got a bunch of cheaters on our hands.
Famous celebrities have already started doing damage control after Diddy's arrest because everybody knows that he's got a big old mouth on him. In fact, some might even say it's wallered out. And I don't think that anybody would really be surprised that Usher was one of the first people to start covering his tracks, considering he was like Diddy's protege. And reports have just come in that Usher completely wiped his entire Twitter account. With 11.6 million followers and years of posts, he deleted over 7,000 posts, and there is nothing here anymore. What I personally did find surprising is that the very next in line was Pink. Girl, are you good? What you got going on? Over 30 million followers and she wiped everything except for 2 reposts from like years ago. Here's my question. Do y'all not understand how the internet works? The internet is forever. Everybody already has all of your stuff downloaded. You got millions of people following you. They're gonna document everything that you post on the interwebs. Even if they didn't, law enforcement is still gonna be able to access everything you've ever done online.
It's like the Epstein situation all over again. I realize he showed Bruno Mars's page and not Usher's, but he was talking about Usher, and it certainly is interesting how a lot of people are suddenly trying to clean house.
Are you getting paid by Nutter Butter? And
I'm not getting paid by Nutter. I just am blown away by Nutty Butter.
No. Are you guys okay?
Yes. Yes. I think that some brands have figured out we're a stoner food. Let's advertise to stoners and make it as fucking insane as possible, right?
I mean, look at this.
So I open up my TikTok app and the very first thing I get is this woman talking about how Nutter Butter has gone off the rails. Something is wrong. So I go over to the TikTok page of Nutter Butter and lo and behold, it certainly has gone off the rails. Go check it out. It is so weird.
Why are you personally coming forward?
I'm coming forward now because there are thousands of others out there that have been through this, that have gone on a 20 and back program. And I'm not just talking about Americans, we're talking globally. And some of the people that did not come back, their stories need to be told, whether they were soldiers or scientists or just civilians. They provided and gave the ultimate sacrifice for humanity, and their stories need to be told. We need to have full disclosure. The people need to be aware of some of the things that humanity has done. It's time to heal and to grow from that.
So if this program is still running, anybody out there in the world, if you're looking for somebody, I may not be the youngest, but I am super tough and I volunteer. I would like to go.
We are eating ourselves.
Wow.
Let me say that again.
Wow.
We are eating human. We are eating ourselves.
Explain.
And this is why I say what I say.
Okay.
The more I eat it, the way that I feel, what my spirit is telling me. And like I said before, there is no plants in any building. There's no amount of plants in any building across the world that can produce as much as meat as we eat. But guess what? They are producing every day.
Oh, shit.
You ever thought about that?
Oh, shit.
There's nothing growing that fast to be able to feed Wendy's, McDonald's, Popeyes, JJ's, Sharks, this fine dining restaurant, that fine dining restaurant.
Facts.
You tell me what's growing that fast and what's moving that fast besides people dying.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Soylent Green is people. Excellent movie. I don't think we're eating people in the sense that she's saying, but in the life cycle sense, absolutely, because we put bodies into the ground and that nourishes the ground, which nourishes other things, which nourish other things, which we in turn nourish ourselves with. So in the grand scheme of things, yeah, we kind of are, but we're not like cutting the leg off of somebody and gnawing away on it.
We wanted to show you just how much asylum seekers are getting in some of our biggest blue cities, starting right here in New York. If you're a migrant, you're guaranteed housing, some of them being placed in hotel rooms that average $300 a night. Then a number of those migrants qualify to be part of the $53 million debit card pilot program. That means they are handed $1,000 on a debit card each and every month. Add SNAP benefits on top of that, and we're talking an additional $1,400. In Los Angeles, migrants are given full coverage health insurance and soon could also get $1,000 a month through the city's new guaranteed income pilot program, which is immigration status blind. That means you could get it even if you're not here legally. And in Chicago, they so far have spent $300 million since 2023 on migrants. That's on things like food and even laundry. As part of that spending, it's going towards rental assistance.
Are you pissed off yet? How about this? Now they can get a subsidy to help them buy a home in some places. What? I work my frickin' butt off, and what do I get in turn? To pay for these jokes to buy a house. I can't even buy a house.
It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. Scientists are saying in the next 20 years, almost half of America will be underwater. Oh my days. As you know, the floods have already started in California, and it's expected to get worse and worse. Some people are saying it's weather modification, it's HARP, cloud seeding, a pole shift, and some people are saying it's natural. Whatever it is, it's not looking good, bruv. They've even got mudslides and mud floods. Absolute devastation. And it's just the beginning. Apparently, it's gonna get worse.
Bring it on. Let's have it.
Could you explain why Himalayan salt looks like meat? I'll give you a hint. We live on the remnants of a much larger past. It is believed that long ago, giants walked the earth. The Book of Enoch mentions a race called the Nephilim, giants that emerged from the union between fallen angels and human women. These beings were immense, powerful, and possessed knowledge far superior to human capabilities. Many buildings and details can be attributed to these giants. Think of the gigantic doors, the enormous tree trunks, and the colossal skeletons that have been discovered. But the topic goes even deeper. Tartaria was famous for its monumental architecture and advanced technology. Could the Nephilim have been part of this empire? Their great strength and knowledge could explain how such majestic structures were built, but there's more. The Bible says that God became furious because of the chaos the Nephilim had caused and sent a great flood to purify the earth. This catastrophic event buried these giants, and all we have left today are their petrified remains. This leads us to another question. Could geology simply be fossilized biology from millennia ago? Have their bodies fossilized into the pink salt we know today? It's not surprising that this salt is known for its mystical and healing properties. What if it contains the essence of these powerful beings?
I absolutely love the ability of people to take facts and information and string them together to get, this result here, like why pink Himalayan salt makes you feel strong and powerful. That was an absolutely fantastic telling. I love it.
Have you ever heard of HEK 293? If you're looking at this video, you're probably like, what the hell is that? Let me break it down. HEK 293 is abbreviated for human embryonic kidney cells. Now let me repeat that. Human embryonic kidney cells. They take this cell from aborted babies. That's why when they were trying to make the statement for abortions to be banned, it didn't happen. This is used to enhance food flavoring. And you want to know what company uses this? Sonomics. And do you want to know who buys from Sonomics? Kellogg's, General Mills, all of these common name brand foods that we eat. You want to know something even crazier? These food making people or companies will not tell you where they get their meat from. Now, if they're using human embryonic kidney cells to enhance their food, it's human meat, y'all. Open your eyes.
Okay, that's gross. Yeah, don't eat processed foods, I guess.
California, what is going on here? Have y'all seen this? What is this about, y'all? When we tell you it is close, y'all, it is close because they're not making these movies without sending y'all a message. Now, this is somewhere in Southern California. I don't specifically know what part, but this is crazy, y'all.
That's like 20 minutes away from me.
In 2014, scientists discovered that we knew absolutely nothing about Earth's core. Once this was realized, lots of theories started to pop up. Possibly the most popular was that there is a secret society living inside the planet. Many researchers went to debunk this theory, but what they found was astonishing. After going into the deepest caves in the world, they met indigenous tribes of people confirming this theory to be true. How did these people survive without the sun, without food, or without steady water?
I don't find that credible. I don't think that they actually went and found tribes of people living underneath the earth. I believe that there is a possibility that there is something within the earth that we don't know about because we don't really know what's going on inside of our earth. We have scientific hypotheses and, best guesstimations, but we don't really know 100%.
What if history is just repeating itself, and Earth is just an infinite time loop? Everything that has and will happen to us as a civilization has already happened to previous civilizations many times before. But then, there's a big reset, and we're back to the beginning again. What's the point of this, you may ask? Well, it stops us from advancing too much, to the point that we can overpower those that are in control. Just think about the Tartarians, or even the Egyptians. Many of us believe that the buildings and structures built by previous civilizations are too good to be true. So what if the history books that tell us about these civilizations were altered to make us believe that they were less advanced, when in actuality, they were more advanced than us? It sounds crazy, I know, but just imagine. Look how easy it to erase digital files and recreate scribbles in books. Imagine if the reason for us not being able to find certain scriptures of how things such as the pyramids were built is due to the fact that it was all stored on computers or online databases, thinking that it would be easier for future generations to access, when in reality, it would all just be erased.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% believe that there were advanced civilizations previous to our own, multiples of civilizations prior to. And maybe they didn't advance in the exact same way that we did, but they did advance and then stopped. And we'll never know about them. It's just the way that it is. On that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.